lefties, and then not to mention when you look at, do they hit a rise ball or a drop ball better? They hit a drop ball better. Yeah, when you look at those splits, under 300 batting average against rise balls, it's one of Jaden Huebner's best pitches. And so when you think about, okay, left-handed pitcher who throws a rise ball and what Florida can do well offensively, I mean, they have a lot of strengths, but when you're looking at the matchups, Huebner is a tough matchup for them.
Another lefty at the plate now in Taylor Shoemaker. 2 for 6 in the series with a couple walks. Huebner lets that one run outside for ball 1. And when you look at that game 1 loss for LSU, it's really kind of been the story for them over these last couple weeks. It's the big innings that Florida was able to come through with. Over their last 7 SEC games entering this series, LSU had 8 innings, allowing at least 3 runs. You look in game 1, 2 more of those innings, a 6 spot for the Gators and a 3 spot. And a run rule victory in just 6 innings.
Ooh, and how about that changeup there? A pitch that she only throws about 7% of the time, but going to be a good pitch that she can locate down in the zone and then use her curveball and rise ball up against it.
Back to back, throws Shoemaker.
And it was a changeup. That was a setup pitch to go to look like a backdoor curveball. So this is a setup pitch. A changeup was supposed to be outside, but it ended up bleeding inside. But it helped tunnel this backdoor curveball, a little bit of rise ball, low rise ball action to it. That lefty on lefty matchup is going to be tough against the left-handed hitters in Florida's lineup.
Not often Taylor Shoemaker is fooled on back-to-back pitches, but Huebner got her there. A battle that we will certainly see many times over the next 4 seasons between these 2 talented freshmen. The left fielder Corby Otis's first chance off Huebner. She's 1 for 5 in the series with a pair of walks.
And I really think, Chucky, Jaden Huebner is going to be a pitcher that we're talking about for years to come. It's just hard to believe when you watch her pitch and the outstanding February that she had in her freshman year a couple of months ago, that she is just a freshman. The only, I would say, thing that you watch with her is just the amount of walks that she has a tendency to give up. She can get herself into trouble with extra base runners, with free passes, but she has a swing and miss stuff to work her way out of those jams.
64 walks this year, 19 hit batters. But the strikeout number is well over 1 per inning. So that's where she can make up for those free passes. And now a 2-2 count to a first-team All-American from last season, Otis. Chance to go 1-2-3, misses upstairs. There was a different energy about LSU in game 2 and even the start of tonight and in this park too with the LSU fans than we saw in game 1. Got Otis swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts for Huebner, a tremendous start for the LSU freshman.
So impressed by this freshman. It's a rubber match against one of the best offenses in the country. Your team needs you to step up. This home crowd does too. She gets 2 strikeouts in the first inning.
To the end of March, she got the win in game 1, went 6 innings, gave up 5 hits, 4 runs, and struck out 3. See what kind of adjustments the Tigers can make off of Rothrock. Jumps ahead of Danica Coffey, 0-2 to start things off, and Coffey wants to talk to Beth Torina down the third base line.
Yeah, Keegan Rothrock is going to be more up in the zone with her rise ball. She'll work a fastball as well, but she can throw a rise ball on multiple different levels. When that pitch is working its best, she's spinning it, not throwing through her spin, but letting that spin or relying on that spin to get swings and misses and locate that pitch at different parts of the zone. That rise ball is a pitch that she will use the highest percentage of the time at 40%. Also mix in a drop ball and a curve and even locate her fastball as well, which is what I think that we saw the first couple of pitches to Danica Coffey in this AP.
It's a long conversation between Coffey and Torina as you look at Rothrock's line from game 1. This is a Florida staff that returns all but 11 2/3 of their innings from a season ago. An extremely young staff as Rothrock gets her first strikeout.
Yeah, lived on the outside corner in that at bat to Coffey, and then in an 0-2 count, expanded the zone. About a ball and a half off the plate, got her to chase, went right at her. That's what we saw her do in game 1 too. She went right at these LSU hitters, even though she gave up those 4 runs. She threw a great game in game 1.
Delivers strike 1 to Jayla Lassiter, the Ole Miss transfer. It's a 2-year starter. Big pickup in the transfer portal along with a couple others for LSU. This is hit in a shallow left field, taken care of by Riley Holtorf, and a quick 2 outs for Rothrock.
And we saw this in the top of the first inning, but as well here in the bottom of the first. It's just the shadows in between the pitcher and the batter. And Tim Walton even mentioned that yesterday, having a little bit of an effect on his hitters where it starts in the light and then ends up in the shadows. Not going to have an effect on the pitcher, but as a hitter, I mean, you're trying to lock in on the spin and trying to lock in on the hip, and that can play a little with your eyes.
Pitcher's dream, right?
You'll take it. Any help you can get against the hitters these days, you will definitely take it.
I feel like if you're Keegan Rothrock, you got to talk to your director of ops for scheduling as far as game times go, and need some twilight games to try and get the shadows. Let that one get away from her for ball 2. AC Bajaran, the batter for LSU. One of a number of players we talked before the game, Amanda, that for LSU, there was a lot of unknown coming into the seasons. Coffey and Edwards coming back from injuries, some new players coming in from the portal, and then also just players stepping into new roles. But Bajaran's one who has played a big role, but is having a career year offensively. Look at these numbers this year, a .384 average and 9 home runs.
And you'd love to see her do this in her junior year too, because she still has one more year left, can build on this year. Not a really old LSU team. They have a few seniors sprinkled in there, but a lot of juniors, freshmen, sophomore. Got the walk-off hit last night in Sierra Daniel.
And on the hands to Bajaran. Stays alive 3-2. LSU's final 4 series in SEC play come against top 9 teams in the nation. They lost 5 of 6 on their Texas swing to A&M and to Texas, and then they finish next weekend with Arkansas.
Well, it was difficult too because they were right there in so many of those games. I mean, it's been a tough stretch for LSU, but they've been creating hits and creating offense. Just have had an inning here or there where the game got away from them, and what easily could have been a win turned into a loss for them.
8th pitch is fouled down the left field line. You talked about it, not a super old LSU team, and maybe even more so when you're feeling the results of those losses. It's probably pretty hard to look and say, well, it's top 10 teams. That's still who you have to beat if you want to reach your ultimate goals.
It feels like that's the SEC this year, as you're playing 3 or 4 top 10 opponents in a 3-game series.
Ground ball left side. Cahalan takes care of it. 1, 2, 3 innings for Rothrock and Heavner. Maybe a little pitcher's duel here in Baton Rouge. 3 times in 20 years. That's absurd.
And I feel like as of late, he's done a really good job of using the transfer portal with a player like Jocelyn Erickson transferring over from Oklahoma, but also Corby Otis, Kenley Cahalan, Riley Holtorf. And to me, that 2023 year, when they had to travel for regionals, is the year that stuck out to me. Is after that, something needed to change. Something needed to shift in their program to never have to feel that again. Even talked to Kendra Falby about it, and she said, you know, we can appreciate that time back in 2023. It built character for us in the team, and we felt that. There's only 2 people left, actually, from that team that had to travel for regionals, but we never want to feel that again.
You mentioned the transfers. They've had back-to-back NFCA National Players of the Year. One of them is at the plate right now, and Jocelyn Erickson. The other one, Skylar Wallace. Both came to Florida in the transfer portal. I mean, we know Tim Walton can attract top talent from freshmen, but now in this new landscape, he's proving that Florida is one of the top destinations for some of the best players in the country. And you mentioned Holtorf and Cahalan. Cahalan is the best bat from Alabama last year, and Riley Holtorf is a premier position from one of the nation's best programs in Washington, coming all the way across the country to Gainesville. Nice pitch from Hebner, freezes Erickson. The freshman off to a tremendous start. 3 strikeouts.
That's 3 strikeouts in a row, and 2 of them have been looking. She's setting up her pitches, locating them, and then look at the frame job by Bajaran back behind the plate. She got well in the outside corner, stuck that pitch inside of her shoulders. I mean, major credit to Bajaran framing up that curveball.
We asked Beth Torina about Bajaran, specifically the offensive jump, but she said, look, she's one of the best defensive catchers in the country. They love what she does behind the plate for this pitching staff. 4 up, 4 down for Hebner. Now Reagan Walsh, who's having a great series, fouls this one away. They'd have a 5-game hit streak snapped yesterday, but drove in 3 runs in game 1.
And I think, you know, when we're looking back at that 2023 season, their offense has really improved over the course of the past few years, to where this is a team that is back to their home run hitting ways. When they were winning in 14 and 15, that team had prolific offenses. And when you look at 23, 24, there's been a big shift with their home run numbers and also lowering their strikeouts.
It's softly on the infield, long run, diving play can't be made. It was a great hustle by Daniel laying out, but that'll put Walsh on first base with an infield single.
Yeah, great hustle by Sierra Daniel, was laying out for this ball. You're expecting Reagan Walsh, a power hitter, to hit the ball behind you, not in front of you necessarily, but falls in no man's land. Great hustle by her, an attempt to make that play, did everything that she could do. They're going to go down as a single for Walsh.
Ava Brown's turn, who homered twice in game 1, and she is plunked on the first pitch. Tough spot now for Hebner, first and second with just 1 away.
Yeah, this is what you have to be careful of with Jaden Hebner, is just to not let an inning like this snowball after a hit, and then a free pass like this with a curveball riding up and in on Ava Brown. Again, when Jaden Hebner gets in trouble, it's because of walks and hit by pitches.
Now you bring Mia Williams to the plate. 17 home runs on the season. Watches strike 1. Dangerous spot early in this game against a tremendous power hitter, Mia Williams. Very similarly to Bajaran, was having a great sophomore year after struggling at the plate a year ago. Just 18 hits last year, and she's about to hit that number in home runs this season.
She's really upped her home run numbers, even had one in game 1. It was a towering shot too. The amount of home run increase that she's had alone, she's always had the power. It's just been lacking just the overall consistency in her at-bats and her mindset within a game, at bat to at bat, pitch to pitch.
Team best 8 home runs in SEC play. This one off speed, she just fights it away.
I mean, this home run that she hit off of Hebner in game 1 was a towering shot. I think it went as high as the light pole, and then it went really high, and then it just kept going over the left field wall, and that was the spark that Florida needed to just unleash offensively.
Hebner, another one, goes up top and gets the strikeout.
This is not a team that strikes out very often, so already 4 strikeouts. We're not even the first time through the lineup, and Hebner goes to this rise ball, ties up her hands. This pitch location is absolutely perfect. Worked her away at the perfect spot at the knees on the outside corner, and then brought that rise ball up.
Good spot on the outside corner to Kenley Cahalan to start things off. You said it, Amanda. Florida the second best home run hitting team in the SEC, but they are second least in the strikeout category. I would venture to guess not many conferences have those two stats aligned like that. That's what the Gators have been great at this season, and here's Cahalan now down 0-2. Crowd into it in Baton Rouge.
I'm really seeing Macy Bajaran work so hard back behind the plate. I mean, she always is, but there's just something different about the way that she's getting to this outside corner and framing up the outside corner to these left-handed hitters.
1-2. Off speed, hit softly towards center field, ran down by Daniel. Well, 2 on with 1 out. Huebner gets out of it. She struck out 4. 2 zeros to start the game. Starting on Thursday, it has set up a fantastic final weekend in the SEC, though, Amanda, with just great matchups and storylines all over the place.
It's all coming down to that final weekend. So many good series next weekend. It's Thursday through Saturday series, by the way. So fans, you better get watching on Thursday. Don't get caught a day behind.
It's a great teaser for the SEC tournament and then into regionals starting on May 16th. You'll see Tori Edwards at the plate for her first at bat of the night. She's homered in each of the first 2 games and is 1 away from the LSU single season record set by Bianca Bell.
It's fun to hear Coach Trina talk about Tori Edwards and just talking about it has just been off the charts what she's been able to do, and really, I mean, could never have quite expected this type of season. They knew that she had unbelievable talent, but the year that she has put together here has just been unbelievable. I mean, she can do all things, and as a freshman, a redshirt freshman, Coach Trina said that she is the most prepared hitter that they have in the lineup.
Student of the game, loves to learn about her swing. She needs the 1 home run to break the record for Bell, 9 to break the RBI record.
Hit a home run off of Keegan Rothrock in game 1. It was a line drive, just sunk over the left field wall, and then again on Sunday, hit one off of Ava Brown. More of a pull power type hitter when you look at her spray chart and her home runs. They really go over that left field wall.
Chased that one. Rothrock gets the strikeout, her second of the game.
Got her chasing on this full count pitch. This would have been ball 4. She's looking to hit, sees one up at her eyes, moving not only up but also away from her. A curveball with rise ball spin as well. Huge strikeout for Rothrock.
Down to the 5-hole Rudity. First pitch swinging. Cahalan takes care of it. 5 up, 5 down for Keegan Rothrock. Cahalan at third base this year for the Gators. It was something Tim Walton talked to us about. He said, I didn't know she had played third, but when he was in the recruiting process and then they get Holtorf and Cahalan, they're kind of in practice and they're moving them back and forth. And Kenley Cahalan told Tim Walton, you know, my high school coach actually used to move me to third in bunt situations because I was so good at fielding those. And here she is with a new home at third base after playing shortstop primarily at Alabama last year.
Such a high school thing to do. It's just like all these different moves in high school when you have like the best player on the team. You're just going to put them in any situation at any time and have them do it all. She said she really likes her backhand. And Coach Walton's like, well, you can use your backhand a lot over at third base. She has really good footwork and a good defensive third baseman. A whole new left side of the infield for Florida with Holtorf right next to her at short.
1-2 count for Rothrock. And a pretty good looking pitch right there to Jaden Leno, but it's ball 2. Leno 1 for 4 with a double and a walk in the series. Hard hit ball right side. It gets past Williams for a 2-out base hit.
LSU will take that for their first hit of the game off of Rothrock. She's been going right at these hitters, getting some quick outs, and Leno gets a pitch. It's about belt high, gets her barrel to it, hits it hard to the right side, just past Mia Williams, who was playing just a touch up the middle of the field.
First pitch swinging for Avery Hodge. That's fouled away. Still looking for her first hit in the series. Hodge transferred from Oklahoma, spent 2 years there, 2 national titles. Kind of struggled over these last 20, 21 games, hitting under 260 in that time frame. Hit .430 with 15 RBIs through their first 28 games of the season. Lets that pitch go up top for ball 2.
It's difficult to square Rothrock up because she actually will throw 3 different speeds. So her curveball and her fastball, she will throw the hardest. Her rise ball will be that mid-speed, and then also will mix in a changeup. Good stop there by Jocelyn Erickson. Great receiver. Worked together now for 2 years. But it makes her difficult to time up because of the way that she's able to change spin and speed.
Hodge thought that was a ball. It was not, and now a full count here. Erickson and Hodge were teammates for 1 season in Norman for Patty Gasso. 3-2. Into right field, almost right at Shoemaker, who makes the catch. They strand a 2-out base hit. Still zeros through 2 innings in Baton Rouge. Out in our home plate umpire, of course, Beth Torina, the great pitcher from Florida, used to wear those colors.
She's going to spill the beans, she said, about some of the Florida players.
Holtorf to deep left field, a foul ball. Put a charge into that out of the 9-hole for the Gators. Beth Torina has one of my favorite mic'd up Monday moments that's in our promo where she hits the ground at third base and she's slapping the ground.
Oh, it's epic, and it will forever live on. Remember, she pitched at Florida, so she wore that orange and blue.
Won 60 games in the circles for the Gators, 1998 SEC champions.
With the shorts uniforms. Did you see that, Chucky? The shorts uniforms, those used to be the thing with the trace pads. I even wore shorts uniforms in my freshman and sophomore year, and then they started to get phased out.
So you did play in the modern era for a couple years.
Oklahoma used to wear shorts uniforms all the time. They were really known for them.
You got to be tough to wear the shorts.
You do.
To slide into second or third, and no thank you. Diving stop at shortstop by Hodge, but it's an infield single to lead off the 3rd inning for Holtorf. First time a leadoff base runner has been on in the game. Now back to the top of the order, and this is when things get dangerous. What adjustments has Florida made as they get set to see Jaden Heavner for the 2nd time? Falby just 2 for 9 in the series, couple RBIs and a double. She drove in Florida's lone run in game 2.
It's fun to talk to her before this series and hear how superstitious she is. I really did not know that she's like max level superstitious.
My favorite one that she told you was before every series, she goes out and eats by herself at Carrabba's in Gainesville.
It started her freshman year before the first SEC series. It is her way of carving up. She says, does the same thing every single series.
Said now they know her. They know what's going on. They keep up with the Florida softball team, and Falby into left field. It's juggled out there for a moment, but Holtorf stays put at second base. Back-to-back singles here in the 3rd.
Well, and back-to-back have been in pitchers' counts. The Holtorf single was a 1-2 count. This count to Falby is an 0-2 pitch that's just too sweet for a veteran hitter like Kendra Falby. Up in the zone, a lot of plate on it. She goes to her slap and hits that single hard to the left side, just past Coffey down the line. That's, I think, a big reason why Beth Torina is going to go out and talk to her freshman pitcher and just give her a little reminder. Never hurts. Hey, when you're up 1-2, 0-2, let's be better in those counts. And maybe even, might see a pitching change here. Yeah. Second time through the order, bring in Sydney Berzon for a completely different look.
From the freshman left-hander to the two-time All-American junior right-hander, Sydney Berzon in the circle. When we come back, freshman Heavner in a tough spot here, 2 on, nobody out in the third. Had a tremendous performance yesterday, complete game, 2-hitter, and allowed just 1 run.
The 2 hits is what stands out for me. 4 strikeouts and 4 walks, but the 4 strikeouts, she was able to locate her drop ball both sides of the plate, got a couple of chasing swings well out of the strike zone with that drop ball. Her drop ball was working very well alongside her off-speed curveball. She was mixing speeds throughout every at-bat against Florida in yesterday's game.
First batter Berzon will face is the fantastic freshman Taylor Shoemaker, who struck out looking her first trip to the plate. She has been an RBI machine this year, 70 of them to lead the way for the Gators. Hit up the middle, off the foot of Berzon, diving stop, and they get the out at second base. The throw to third, Holtorf coming home, and she will score.
What a play by Sierra Daniel. It actually either knocked the glove off of Sydney Berzon or it fell off, but Daniel dives up the middle of the field. Hodge throws behind the runner, and Holtorf just decides to take off. And it looked like it was going to be a mistake, but nobody from LSU was communicating that she had decided to go home. So Coffey went down to tag at third base. Nobody was there, and then Holtorf was able to score.
Florida breaks open the scoring here in the third. Still a runner in scoring position for Corby Otis. Oh, 1. Otis rips it to Coffey. Double play.
Leave, and then other players replace their leadership and different qualities about that player that left. Other players step up the next year to try to kind of fill that void that they leave whenever they do graduate.
First pitch swinging for Sydney Peterson, who's actually seen her first action of the series for LSU in the 8-hole. 8-9-1 due up for the Tigers here in the bottom of the third, trying to respond after Holtorf came across for Florida on that bit of an awkward play defensively for LSU. Peterson, a redshirt junior from Stockton, California, takes ball 1.
I like the way that Rothrock has come out and had her second start of the weekend and how she's looked. This is a pitcher that had so many days off due to injury.
Foul territory, a little bit of room over there. Cahalan does a nice job finding the dugout and makes the catch for out number 1.
And that Alabama series, you know, she got hit hard earlier on in the series and then recovered in game 3. And I feel like that game 3 in Vegas, I think he might look back at it as a turning point for her season, for Florida's season. She's such a huge part of their success the last couple of seasons. I mean, really shouldered a bulk of the load last season, taking it in the Women's College World Series, and it just seemed like when the game got bigger, she got better. Deeper and deeper as they went into the postseason. As a freshman, she was able to carry them for a good chunk of innings. And then unfortunately for her, was injured, missed a big chunk of time, and just has gotten better, though, since she has come back from her injury.
She had a 1.07 ERA following her first appearance back against Auburn from injury, but since that point has allowed at least 3 earned runs in every outing but 1. That you mentioned at the Alabama game, 7 strikeouts in 6 2/3, allowed just 3 earned runs. Good game 1 outing against LSU. Holtorf snags that. It's going to go down as an infield single for Sierra Daniel. She walked it off on one of those yesterday. 1 out base runner for the Tigers.
This is a picture too, Chucky, with Keegan Rothrock. She always wanted to be a Gator. She grew up playing on her little travel ball team called the Indiana Gators, and she looked up to see what colleges had a Gator as a mascot, and there was only one. It was the Florida Gators, and so she dreamed of playing in this Florida uniform and being a Florida Gator after being an Indiana Gator.
One of 3 sophomores on the pitching staff. Then you have the talented freshman Caitlin Oxley and the veteran Kara Hammock, who came in from UNCW. Nice pitch from Rothrock to Danica Coffey there. Back to the top of the order for LSU. Top 5 in the order, went 0 for 5 the first time through against Rothrock. Ground ball right back to her. Chance for 2. Holtorf, quick throw. Not going to get Coffey, though. There's 2 away.
You know, the good thing about Keegan Rothrock is that she doesn't have to be perfect coming back from injury with this Florida offense. So, talked about the amount of runs that she's been giving up.
Well, nothing so far through 3 innings for Rothrock. 3 zeros on the board, and after 3, it's 1-0 Florida.
And a lot at stake. Oklahoma right now up at the top of the SEC standings, and Florida, one of 5 teams that still potentially has a chance to win an SEC regular season championship. So that will be a really good one. Every time they play, it seems like there's a lot at stake and a lot of postseason history. And so now, with Oklahoma being in the SEC, them meeting as SEC foes for the first time. Should be a good one.
And how about the Oklahoma Sooners, who have rattled off 6 straight, a sweep in Starkville of Mississippi State, and then sweeping Texas this weekend in Norman. Nice catch in left field. Jaden Leno tracking it down out there for out number 1 to take the hit away from Erickson.
Like the way that Jade Leno played this ball in left center field, knowing that it's coming off the bat of a left-handed hitter, so it's going to actually move back toward her. Plus, the wind is blowing a little bit toward left field as well. So you see where Jade Leno will start and then be able to track it down as just the ball comes off the bat of a left-handed hitter. It's going to continue to move toward her. Gave her a chance to catch that like a well-struck ball. I mean, Jocelyn Erickson, it seems like every time that she makes contact, it turns into extra bases, and it looked like that had extra bases written all over it.
Reagan Walsh 1 for 1 with a single. Watches that pitch upstairs for ball 1. Let's go back to Oklahoma and Florida. What are you looking forward to most in that series?
Just it all coming down to this final weekend. I mean, Oklahoma has been playing so well since they lost the series to Alabama in Tuscaloosa. That was another Monday night game, and they lost the series on a walk-off home run to Audrey Vandegrift, and it just seemed like that was a wake-up call for Oklahoma. Their at-bats look different in the games following, and they've just really been putting things together and playing just with a really strong front. Same type of energy that we're used to seeing Oklahoma play with for the past 4 years. And it's just incredible the way that Patty Gasso and her coaching staff have been able to bring this team together despite losing what they lost last year and still be up at the top of the best conference in the country.
Started SEC play 10-5. They are 6-0 since with those 2 sweeps that I mentioned. I just remember a point. We went there for the Tennessee series. They had just lost the previous weekend to Missouri, their first loss of the season. They lost game 1 of that series to Tennessee, and the questions started swirling. What is wrong with Oklahoma? They have 2 losses, and then here they are. Patty Gasso has them probably playing the best softball in the country.
Playing a lot of close games, too.
Ground ball to Hodge, the former Sooner, and right on cue, there's out number 2.
And that's one thing that stands out to me about the season that they've put together is the 6-1 run SEC wins. I mean, those are games where you really have to compete together as a team, do the little things right, not bend maybe a little bit at times, but not break. And that's what Oklahoma has been known for. They just don't break. They're so difficult to beat, especially in a 3-game series.
Two away here in the top of the 4th for Ava Brown who homered twice in game one of this series, her 5th and 6th of the year, including a grand slam.
Of course, seeing Jen Rocha, Oklahoma pitching coach, return back to Gainesville, where she won a couple of national championships with Florida as their pitching coach.
Ground ball left side. Berzon goes 1, 2, 3. She has retired all 5 batters she has faced.
She's capable of, and then bringing in the All-American of Berzon, giving a completely different look.
That type of plan that she's talking about, splitting the game up tonight, do you just feel like we're getting a little closer to the postseason? We're starting to toy with kind of strategies and how we're going to use these pitchers when it really matters?
Yeah, I think that we're seeing coaches use their aces in a lot of different roles all throughout a 3-game series, putting a lot on their plate to start multiple times in a weekend, maybe to close multiple times in a weekend. But I feel like that is a theme that we've been seeing with aces, is you need to bring them in to close more than you start them in a weekend. Every coach is going to use their pitching staff a little bit differently, but that does seem to be a theme this year across the board, is when the pressure is on late in the game, you want your ace to have the ball in her hand.
Hard hit through the right side. Leadoff single for Macy Bajaran.
Good 2-strike swing here by Bajaran. Excuse me, a hitter's count, 2-1 count. Looking to hit, got a pitch that's over the heart of the plate, drives it the other way, like that short swing through the 3-4 hole. She hit that hard. Looking to hit, though, in a hitter's count. Bajaran with the leadoff single.
To make way for Edwards, who smokes one down the left field line, foul. That was a violent swing from the ultra-powerful Tori Edwards. Is number 19 in the cards tonight. Crushes this to left center field, off the base of the wall. A double for Edwards. She's fired up, and LSU is in business in the 4th.
The hitting coach for LSU, Bryce Neal, says that Tori Edwards does such a good job of understanding what pitches she can do damage on and just understanding her swing. It's another pitch that is so sweet for the best hitter in the lineup, right over the heart of the plate. She recognizes that that is a pitch she can do damage on, and she just barrels it up. Man, Tori Edwards, the ball just comes off of her bat so differently. She is so strong, and just to think, that is a redshirt freshman playing in her first complete full year as a college softball player.
Comes from a really athletic family. Her dad, Tyrone, played football at Cal Berkeley. Mom, Tammy, was a cheerleader at Washington State, and her brother played 3 years of football at Columbia, but he finished actually this year on LSU's football team. She said Mom and Dad have not missed a series all year.
Well, and she's just really strong. The numbers that she can put up in the weight room are really something, again, just as a freshman.
Talked about her dad's influence on that, and here it is, 405 pounds, an LSU deadlift record.
See how hype her team gets for her, too. I asked her about her strength training background coming into the series, and she said that she started in 6th or 7th grade. Nothing super heavy, but just learning the basics and getting good form. She just wanted to make sure, her dad wanted to make sure as a strength and conditioning coach, that she's getting her body movements right and that she was prepared to lift heavy later on. So she started that as a young age, and she did want to make sure America knows that she's not just power. She has this hidden speed about her, too, that she worked with her dad, a strength and conditioning coach, working speed and agility as well.
She was more proud of the speed than she was of the power, which was interesting.
Hidden speed. A lot of people don't expect it, she said.
Strike one to Mackenzie Rudity, 0 for 1 tonight, 2 for 7 in the series. Rudity falls behind 0-2 to Rothrock. Nobody out, runners on 2nd and 3rd. That's a pinch runner, Madeline Gilio, a senior from Louisiana who has not played all season. But it is senior, I'm going to call it senior weekend because it's kind of been a celebration all 3 days of the senior class. So Giglio making her debut with Rudity at the plate, hitting almost 400 with runners in scoring position.
That's a veteran take that Rudity just had on that pitch. I mean, this is the hitter that has the most experience in this LSU lineup alongside Danica Coffey, of course. Rudity has been so consistent her career.
High chopper. And they just have to take the out at first. We're tied at 1. Rudity gets the job done to bring Giglio in.
Good execution there by the LSU offense. I haven't seen execution like that this weekend from them. They've been scoring off the bat of Tori Edwards, and of course we saw Sierra Daniels with the walk-off hit. That was a ground ball to the right side as well. So last 2 runs that they've scored, they've been executing well with ground balls on the right side.
Leno, first pitch swinging. She'll bring another in, and LSU has the lead. Beth Torina just raved about Jaden Leno, and here she is driving in the go-ahead run.
Again, ground ball to the right side, getting the top half of the ball, using their speed. LSU is not a big power offense in terms of home runs when you look at the home run numbers compared to Florida. But when they're scoring runs and generating offense, they use their speed and execution.
Talked this week to their assistant coach, Bryce Neal, and he talked about how they really put the responsibility on these hitters 1 through 9 because they like their team speed to get themselves to second base. As that ground ball out from Hodge moves Leno over to second. And one of the things they talk about is fighting tigers. It's something they track every game. And Bryce Neal said they want 8 fighting tigers per game. So one of the things they track is home to first speed or steal time or just getting a steal. And there's multiple ways to earn those fighting tigers, but it just kind of speaks to the scrappiness of this offense and how they want to play.
Yeah, I think that's a good word. And the fighting tigers are things that anybody can achieve. It's really just about effort. There's 8 different ways that they can get a fighting tiger, and all of them are things that are within their control.
It's really an offensive-laden assistant coaching staff with Bryce Neal, Sandra Moten, the former Sandra Simmons, who played at LSU, went to 2 Women's College World Series, and then their director of player performance and analytics, Zach Germain. Slow grounder there. They retire Peterson and strand a runner. But LSU takes control 2-1 after 4 innings. Tigers looking for a big series win.
Not very often that all 3 runs in a game are scored with just a ground ball to the second baseman. But let me tell you, home runs are really pretty and sexy. But that ground ball to second base will score a run with the runner at third base as well.
That's what you were looking for at the plate, right? In your playing days, that grounder to second base.
It'll do the trick.
It has been the key for LSU this weekend. Now you give your 2-time All-American pitcher a 1-run lead with 3 innings to play. Rothrock's been really good in the circle for Florida.
That's that off-speed curveball that Sydney Berzon was throwing a lot to these Florida hitters yesterday. It has such tight spin and gives them a different look. And of course, Smokey Eds, the home plate umpire, wants to take a look at it because it was hit off the end of the bat of Mia Williams in that foul ball. So just making sure it didn't cut it up or anything with that swing.
Berzon ahead of Williams, 1-2. Too far outside for ball 2. When you're facing a team the second time in a weekend, how much different is that second outing as far as approach goes?
You just don't want to, you just have to be able to mix it up. I mean, it is just different pitch calling that Beth Torina is going to be putting in there, not getting predictable. Most important part, and what worked so well for her against the right-handed hitters that had power, like Mia Williams, like Ava Brown, like Corby Otis, was her inside drop ball that she was throwing. So today, working that maybe a little bit more on the outside corner with that drop ball and her off-speed curve, just trying to mix things up.
2-2, full count. Berzon gave up just 3 earned runs in her first 22 1/3 SEC innings pitched. But had given up 27 in the last 36 entering this weekend. There's another strikeout of a Florida batter.
And this pitch had some late break to it. I think Mia Williams thought it was going to do something different, maybe go more down, but it was a drop ball that cut back across the heart of the plate, so it ended up looking like it was just down Main Street, but it froze her enough for that looking strikeout.
Berzon has faced 6 batters and retired all of them. Now faces Kenley Cahalan for the first time. Cahalan hit a soft line out up the middle last time to Sierra Daniels. She takes strike 2.
And there's that changeup. And Berzon is a really cool story because she grew up pitching a lot by herself. She actually went to boarding school and she was on her own for so long that she just had to kind of invent her own way to pitch. So she knows herself very well. She spent a ton of time just by herself with a catch net. She had a Rev Fire, that is a tool that would it tracks your spin and gives you data, but she just in that time figured out little things about herself.
This one's golfed into left field. Leno runs it down again. 2 away.
So because she spent a lot of time on her own, she learned to pitch on her own and be her own pitching coach really well. Really has a feel for her spin and velocity to the point where Coach Trina said when she came in, she could say, all right, throw this pitch at this speed with a little bit of tilt, and she could do it. So it's been really cool and video game like Coach Trina said for the past couple of years to call pitches for her and work with her because she's so unique with how well she knows herself and can make adjustments on her own.
What do you think the most important thing is for a pitcher now versus maybe when you played, with just all the tools that these other teams have and the video and analytics they have on you?
Mixing speeds. Being able not just to throw 2 speeds, but being able to throw 3 speeds like you see with Berzon, as well as Keegan Rothrock. I mean, you have to be able to change speeds and mix things up against these hitters.
Fantastic series for Berzon so far. 9 2/3, just 2 hits allowed in the 1 run. That one froze Holtorf for strike 1. I don't think she had any intention though. 3-0.
I mean, she can throw 70 if and when she wants to. And she's been able to touch that throughout her career. But at the end of the day, she can change speeds like that.
Holtorf deep to left center field and carried and gone. Riley Holtorf, her 5th home run of the season, ties this game at 2.
Riley Holtorf is having a great game from the 9 hole. She's 2 for 2. She scored both of the runs for Florida and had big swings. Finds herself in a hitter's count, and of course with Kendra Falvey in the top of the order on deck, Cindy Berzon saying, I got to go right at her. But she has the experience with her time at Washington. She's so confident, a big get defensively and to fill in that 9 hole to really have a deep lineup 1 through 9 for Florida coming over from Washington.
Riley Holtorf homered in their midweek win over USF. It was her first since March 29th. Just her 4th of the year, and then she gets her 5th just a few days later here against LSU to tie the game. That jumps over the glove of Hodge and puts the speedster Falvey on first base.
Now all of a sudden there's 2 quick outs. Now one of the best home run hitting players in the lineup is going to have a chance to come up in this inning. Taylor Shoemaker.
16 home runs on the year for the talented freshman Shoemaker.
They've been to all different parts of the field. She's just such a talented hitter. She can spray the ball all over the place. Can hit a lot of different pitches well.
has not had the drop-off that you often see from non-conference to SEC play. She's hitting .338 in SEC play, 8 doubles, 4 home runs. To another talented freshman, Edwards, who dives at first base to pick up out number 3.
As well as her teammates and her family.
Nice pick by Holtorf. And they call her out at first base. Sierra Daniel, who wants them to look at this, and I think they will.
Yeah, I think that they are going to look at it, but an unbelievable play.
The field is out at first base. Louisiana State is challenging that call.
We'll see if it stands. Riley Holtorf going to her backhand and then getting rid of it so quickly, throwing across her body. Let's see. When we really look at it, I think she got her.
From those angles, it looks like she did.
That was quick. They have been so quick on the video replay reviews this weekend. Birmingham is stepping up their game for the final couple of weekends.
Hey, they're playing some of their best ball right now, too, as we get down the stretch. But there's one out as they retire Daniel. And here is Danica Coffey at the plate. Still looking for her first hit this weekend. But one of what will become 12 players to receive a golden ticket from the AUSL, that inaugural season for the new Pro League coming up in early June. The golden ticket just means you have been drafted. You don't know your team yet. We'll find that out next Saturday on ESPNU. You'll actually be on the draft with Haley McClenny and Savannah Collins. Holtorf not going to get Coffey this time. And you talked to Danica Coffey before this series, and she told you that was one of her goals. She wanted a golden ticket. She'd been watching the other players receive them. She had no idea this was happening, and she told you, I want to keep playing.
And her eyes lit up about it when I asked her what's next for her, and she told me that, man, hopefully I get a golden ticket. I hope. Maybe I'll get one.
Popped up on the infield, 2 outs.
But you know, it's a special moment for her too, with the fact that she was injured last year, missed the majority of the season, had to redshirt, had torn her ACL, and just for her to get back and contribute to this team as a leader, their leadoff hitter, and then to get drafted. What a moment for her after a tough year last year.
Corby Otis out in left field for the Florida Gators received a golden ticket a few weeks ago after she produced a walk-off win for Florida. There are 5 Tigers and 5 Gators who will be in the AUSL. Both teams well represented as that pitch just misses to Bajaran.
Yeah, and the AUSL is getting a bunch of winners too, because everybody that's gotten it so far have all won the games that they got it after. There's Corby Otis.
Makes the celebration that much sweeter.
That much sweeter.
Bajaran picked up her first hit of the series, her last trip to the plate, a single, and then came around to score the first run of the game for LSU. Of course, the Holtorf solo home run in the 5th brings us back level at 2 apiece. Quick visit here for Stephanie Van Brakel Prothro, the new pitching coach for Florida this year. 2 years as the head coach at Memphis most recently, 12 years as an assistant coach at Alabama, and of course was a tremendous player in her own right for the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, so we played each other in the first Super Regional. So Super Regional started in 2005. That was my freshman year, and Alabama came to College Station. We hosted them, and they ended up winning to go on to the World Series, but Steph was the pitcher then.
How'd you do against her? What was your your average against her? I know you don't like these questions, but
no, I don't remember. I had just come back from injury myself, and I had a head injury, so literally I don't remember because I had the head injury. But most importantly, our team lost, and I can't remember how I did as an individual, but they went on to the World Series.
Great teammate, though. Into right field, hit hard, but it's right at Shoemaker, who makes a nice grab for out number 3. On to the 6th inning.
This weekend in April, and then we head to May, where everything is going to be on the line for the postseason and these team seasons in general. I mean, just from here on out, it is just nothing but high leverage games that mean a ton for all these teams.
Florida under Tim Walton has won 11 of the 14 series with LSU. Trying to make it 12 of 15. That's just one of those crazy numbers with Tim Walton as the head coach of the Gators that it's almost hard to believe. Tough part of the order here for Berzon. Otis, Erickson, Walsh due up for Florida. Strike one on the outside corner.
Remember, Corby Otis ripped a ball at Danica Coffey her last at bat, so you go inside, you have to go hard in against her, but likely they're going to throw her on this outside corner and try to change speeds. There's that hard in pitch. That's what I mean. If you go in, you have to go hard in, and you hope that maybe she swings at that pitch or gets herself out, but takes it to work herself to a 3-1 count, likely going to go outside. This next pitch.
Hard hit, and that's stabbed over at second by Daniel. One out. Otis just can't buy a base hit right now.
She's hit the ball hard to third base, hit the ball hard to second base. Sierra Daniel is a good job with her glove this weekend and with her bat. This has been a big weekend for Sierra Daniel. A couple of big weekends games for the 9 holes. Sierra Daniel and Riley Holtorf, back-to-back games.
Now Jocelyn Erickson, she was robbed her last time up by Leno out in left field. Shoemaker, Otis, Erickson, 0 for 8 combined in this game. Another one toward Leno, testing her, foul territory. Can't quite reach it. Mentioned the outfielders for LSU, just that history, especially out in center field with AJ and Aaliyah Andrews. But one of the things Beth Torina talked about, now Jayla Lassiter is out in center field roaming around for LSU, but said what she hears from a lot of players, you know, they grew up watching AJ and Aaliyah and wanted to be like them. The latest version of that, the Gold Glove winner Sierra Briggs, and then you go all the way back to the early 2000s with Leslie Klein, who was an All-American. It's kind of been going on for a while here in Baton Rouge. Out to center field. Lassiter makes the play. Didn't quite test her as much as I thought when that ball was hit.
Oh, that was perfect. Talking about the center fielder, and then Jocelyn Erickson just serves it up to her. It's great.
And I think one of the greatest nicknames in softball was born on this field, Air Leah, for Aaliyah Andrews.
I like the fence too here because you can rob a home run. It's so short.
Of course, Tim Walton talking about his center fielder earlier, Kendra Falby, saying he thinks she's the best in the country. And speaking of robbing home runs, she has made some unbelievable catches this year. 2 outs for Walsh. Oh man, over the head and diving just out of the reach of Lassiter. Walsh rounding second, and she's going to be into third base with 2 outs. So close to a web gem out in center for Lassiter.
The last 2 innings, Florida has been very good with 2 outs. That's when they scored their run with the Holtorf home run, and then now Reagan Walsh goes down and gets this outside pitch. She has had such good plate coverage with the outer half, different speeds, down below her knees, hustles out a triple as that ball got all the way to the wall. Jayla Lassiter tried to make one of those diving center field incredible catches that we're used to seeing on this field, but comes up short.
First triple of the season for Reagan Walsh. Put up great numbers in SEC play, hitting just a touch under 330. A chance for Ava Brown. 0 for 1 and was hit by a pitch back in the second inning. Ahead in the count 2-0. Take strike one. That misses low, ball 3.
Yeah, Mia Williams on deck, who has hit 17 home runs. Just home run hitters all throughout this order for Florida.
3-1 pitch, strike 2. Williams waiting. Full count to Brown. Berzon delivers, and it's fouled down the third base line.
Ava Brown up in the lineup in this game. She'd been hitting in the 8-hole. It had some great at-bats in this series, a couple of home runs in game 1, so moved her up to the 6-hole in this game.
Brown, a sophomore from Montgomery, Texas. Dual threat, goes down looking. Berzon strands the runner at third. She's homered in each of the first 2 games of this series and has homered in 5 straight SEC series. 1-0 from Rothrock, 2-0.
Couple of pitches that really missed big. See if on a 2-0 count how close she comes to the plate here, knowing one swing can change this game.
3-0. Not much for Edwards to work with to start this at bat.
There's a looked like a close. I thought that was actually going to be a strike. I was going to say there's a strike that is more over the heart of the plate. Looked like maybe they're going to start challenging her, but I think that with the way that she's been swinging the bat, I think you have to make somebody else beat you. So pitch around her, even go ahead and lead off walk, basically pitch around her to put her at first base. An intentional walk is what it looked like to me. Make somebody else beat you.
So the potential record-breaking swing has to wait at least one more at bat, looking for the single season home run record that is owned by Bianca Bell. She has tied that at 18. Now Mackenzie Rudity.
6 balls in a row now for Rothrock.
Erickson wants to talk things over with her sophomore pitcher.
A good time for a timeout. I mean, just think about where we're at in this game, where we're at in this series, and Jocelyn Erickson knows Keegan Rothrock really well. Get to talk to her defense a little bit as well.
We always talk about the grind of the SEC season, but here we are kind of at the end of the regular season. What's this like as a player? I mean, feels like you maybe get lost in it a little in the middle of it, but now that we're here, you know the postseason's around the corner. What are those feelings like?
I mean, you're tired, but you just still want it, especially when an SEC regular season championship is on the line, and you want to do whatever it takes. And both of these teams are just playing for a little something extra. LSU playing just to continue to get back on track after a tough couple of series against A&M and then Texas. A tough start to this series, getting run roll.
7 straight balls. Rudity ahead 3-0. Crowd getting into it. Back-to-back 4-pitch walks for Rothrock to start the bottom of the 6th. The pressure is building. This might be a change. Ava Brown out in the bullpen warming up. Tim Walton looked that direction. And it looks like we will have a new pitcher as Rothrock's night comes to an end here in the bottom of the 6th. It will not be Brown. It will be the freshman Caitlin Oxley, who we saw in game 2 come in for an inning, gave up 2 hits, 1 earned, and 2 walks. Oxley, though, really stepped up in the absence of Rothrock when she missed those 5 weeks with injury. She's from the state of Florida. Earned Florida's lone win over Texas as a starter in that series, but another really impressive young arm for Tim Walton.
Yeah, and they've used her in a lot of different ways to be able to start her in the absence of Keegan Rothrock, and then be able to use her now more in relief, but have a lot of confidence to start her as well. Really good spin and more upspin out of her hand with her rise ball, screwball, and curveball, and then she'll mix in that changeup. So really nice kind of equal 4-pitch mix. Will heavily rely on that screwball as her go-to pitch.
Tim Walton talked to us on our call with him this week. He said we really threw her into the fire when Keegan was injured, and she did a great job of just holding it down. In a little bit similar way, Keegan Rothrock, you talked about it, really thrown into it last year, carried the load. Oxley stepped up big in those moments. This is a talented pitching staff. She will face Jaden Leno, who has 2 singles and an RBI tonight. Edwards on second base, Rudity over at first base.
Well, it's a really revamped pitching staff for Florida after traveling for regionals, not getting a top 16 national seed in 2023. That was a pitching staff that in their ERA was 165th best in the nation. And then last year with bringing in Ava Brown and Keegan Rothrock, a revamped pitching staff, they essentially cut that in half in terms of finishing 70th. And then now entering this series, they're 30th in the nation in terms of team ERA. So that team ERA has progressively gotten better and better with bringing in young, new, talented arms like Caitlin Oxley.
0-1 pitch, Leno into right center, it's down. Edwards had to hold up though. The throw was a little bit wild, but it does allow for Rudity to get back to second base after her big turn, and now the base is loaded with nobody out.
Have yourself a game, Jaden Leno, defensively and at the plate. She crushes this ball. Kendra Falby was shaded more toward left center, so it made a lot of room up the middle of the field for that ball to fall. And Tori Edwards, because she needed just to make sure that a center fielder like Kendra Falby was not going to catch that in the air. It held her up so she could only get to third base.
Bases loaded for Avery Hodge. First pitch swinging toward Falby, makes the catch. Edwards tags up, and LSU takes the late lead.
Good execution again by LSU. The way that they push across these 3 runs, couple of ground balls to second base, a sacrifice fly. Between Florida and LSU both, they're both very disciplined, take their walks up at the plate. A couple of teams that have the most walks in the country.
Could that be the decider? Beth Torina making a change at the plate. Instead of the DP Sydney Peterson, we'll see Savannah Bedell, a sophomore from Columbus, Georgia. Hitting .273 on the season, a home run and 7 RBIs. Family of athletes, dad, brother, and sister, all college athletes down the third baseline. Bedell comes up big. Insurance for the Tigers as Rudity scores.
And that's a way to capitalize on a couple of walks that started off this inning. Bedell just goes up and swings hard, and that's what Coach Torina said about Bedell a couple of weeks ago, is that no real plan. She just goes up and swings as hard as she can. She has a high exit velocity. That ball jumped off of her bat the first pitch she saw.
LSU feeding off of each other right now. Down to the bottom of the order, Sierra Daniel He was retired on a tremendous play at shortstop by Holtorf. Her last trip to the plate, singled back in the third. Erickson wants to talk with Oxley.
Such a good job of fighting in this game, fighting in last night's game for the walk-off win. And after that game one run rule, when Florida won 14-4, Beth Torina said post-game that she was a little bit disappointed in the responses and the fight from some people. And maybe a little bit of a wake-up call after game one of this series, because you're seeing more fight from this team, especially in this game here on the win.
Always talk about turning points in a season for players or teams. Wow, that is up and gets Daniel. Fortunately, she ducked and it did hit the helmet. She looks like she's okay, but a scary moment. They're going to immediately check on her, but she's all smiles. Ooh.
Ooh, like right at the top of the helmet with the visor. My goodness. I think she got really lucky where it hit her, and just happy to see her smiling with that big, beautiful smile that Sierra Daniel has. She's taking some deep breaths.
She's good to go and will remain in this game over at first base. Berzon looking on. Bases loaded, just one away for the leadoff hitter, Danica Coffey. Oxley misses outside, ball one. LSU has hit 6 grand slams this year. Coffey has one of them. Coffey, left field, deep, and bounces off the wall. 1 run scores. A second comes across, and LSU has busted this game open in the bottom of the 6th.
Danica Coffey was 0 for the series before this game, and she has stepped up in her last 2 at-bats. Her last hit was a chop slap, and now she's just showing off her power. I thought this had a chance to get out of here. The senior on senior weekend, pushing across a couple of RBIs. She has had a higher slugging percentage, a little bit more pop in her senior year. Every run with the Florida offense coming up to bat in the 7th is big-time insurance run.
Said when she came back from that knee injury, she wasn't able to slap right away because of some restrictions, and so did a lot of swinging away, and she's happy with all the tools she has at the plate. You see it right there, a little pop from Coffey. (6-2) LSU, still a chance for more. And the squeeze play, another run comes across, that gets by. Coffey slides in safe.
Execution to the max we're seeing in this game by the LSU offense. Laying down the bunt, using their speed, going with the squeeze, and Caitlin Oxley just completely misplays that. And then the backside runner, Coffey, getting her foot in underneath the tag. This is the LSU speed and their offense we're used to seeing. It's what has led to the successful offense all season long when they're playing at their best, taking extra bases, executing left and right. We have seen it all game long, and now 6 runs scored in the bottom of the 6th inning. What an inning for them.
Tim Walton did challenge the call at home that Coffey got under the tag. Call in the field was safe.
After review, the call of the field has been upheld. The runner is safe.
Oh yeah, she got her foot underneath there.
First down to the game.
Running hard from second base. That was a misplayed ball by Caitlin Oxley, and it's one thing to give up the squeeze run. It's another thing to commit the error that then Coffey is able to capitalize on. You saw her foot get her foot underneath the tag by Reagan Walsh. Again, this LSU team speed is the fastest team that they've had in a long while.
Great look from our Hawkeye view of that down in Birmingham. Oxley departs. A 6th run, 6th inning for the LSU Tigers to lead Florida 8-2. Olivia Miller, the sophomore from Orlando, comes in, has only thrown 11 2/3 in SEC play with a 3.0 ERA, sub-2 ERA on the season for Miller, who threw 31 2/3 last year, their 3rd most used arm. Just trying to put a Band-Aid on this right now.
Just about coming in and stopping the bleeding. What an inning for LSU, just taking advantage of a couple of leadoff walks. Remember, they pitched around Tori Edwards. That's how this inning started. They chose not to pitch to her, a 4-pitch walk, and the Keegan Rothrock going up against Mackenzie Rudy just couldn't find it after that. It looked like that pitching around Edwards was on purpose, but then the walk to Rudy was not on purpose. She could not find her release point again, and LSU was just definitely taking advantage of those couple of walks that just poured it on.
Edwards is on deck now. She might get a crack at it in this inning. Runner on second, 1 out for Macy Bajaran. Takes strike 1 from the lefty Olivia Miller. You touched on it, Amanda, but just to go back, I mean, the feeling, the vibe from LSU after game 1, if somebody would have told you we were at this point, it's hard to believe that LSU would potentially be taking this series from Florida.
It just didn't seem like they were playing well. It didn't seem like they were in a good place with how they were playing at all. For their Texas road trip, they had lost the last game of their last series and then went to College Station and stayed in Texas and then traveled over to Austin. A long road trip for them where they went 1-5.
Looping off speed pitch for ball 1 to make it a 1-2 count to Bajaran. Louisiana native with Lassiter on second, and now a full count.
And we talked about what Florida is fighting for with winning out, trying to get a share of the SEC regular season championship. For LSU, they're trying to make this final mark, this final push.
Popped up shallow center. Falby takes command, as you would expect, for out number 2.
But make this final push on their resume. A couple of wins against Florida would be huge, and then they have an opportunity to go and play Arkansas next weekend, who's playing very well. By the way, not going to be easy, but you'd much rather go in feeling better about yourself with a couple of wins from this series when you face them next weekend.
Edwards gets her chance. Maybe. Ball 1 outside.
Looks like they're going to go ahead and put her on first base. Again, just pitching around her. This will be something that she has to deal with, I think, moving forward. In that next series against Arkansas, they as well pitched to get around some hitters against Texas A&M this past weekend. Like, they're going to have the same type of strategy next weekend. And how will Tori Edwards be able to handle that mentally? That's not easy. As a hitter, you want to hit. You want to hit the long ball. You want to drive in the RBIs, be a big part of your offense. But moving forward, I think this is going to continue to happen.
Florida making sure that this game doesn't end with one swing in a 6-run game.
Well, and especially because they moved Tori Edwards behind Bajaran in the lineup. The first 2 games of this series, Tori Edwards was in the 3 spot, Bajaran was in the 4, and so that gave Tori Edwards a little bit of protection, but they changed that in this game, and they've been pitching around her.
Rudity, she is 3rd on the team with 3 home runs. There's a 1-0 count in this lefty-lefty matchup with Miller. 0 for 2 with a walk. I mentioned they walked Edwards, but then the command issues to Rudity after that. Now Miller here falling behind in the count. Just all falling apart in the 6th for Florida. They were so close to taking the lead on that 2-out triple by Reagan Walsh in the top half of this inning. Bases loaded, winning run at second base.
You know, one thing that has stuck out to me this year is just how quickly things can change in a game and in a series. More than in years past, I just feel like it's one thing that is really just noticing the flow of a game, how it can be a tight game, then all of a sudden it literally takes a right turn and a team just takes full control of the game so quickly. And I think that that's why this postseason is just going to be kind of nutty. It's just going to be wild. There's no clear-cut #1 team. Every team feels like they're in almost every game or in these series. So many upsets, walk-offs. It's going to come down to the final innings and the final outs here moving forward.
Michaela Walker runs at second base for Tori Edwards. She represents the winning run in this game, and you can be certain LSU would love to end this early against a Florida offense who has shown they can put up numbers in any given frame. Leno is 3 for 3. Takes that inside, ball 2, 2-0. LSU absolutely living ahead in the count in this inning, 3-0.
Had good discipline all year. It's what has led to an improvement in their offense this season.
2 of the top 3 teams in the country when it comes to walks. There's strike 1. Just 4 strikes and 17 pitches for Miller. And that walks in run number 7 here in the 6th. So the winning run now 60 feet from home.
In this inning, there has been 6 free passes in this inning.
Avery Hodge can end it with 2 away. Sac fly RBI, her last trip to the plate, takes ball 1. Tim Walton wants to talk it over with Miller. Oklahoma next for Florida in Gainesville. That series starts on Thursday. LSU heads to Arkansas to finish their season. And then the SEC tournament begins on May 6th in Athens.
It's crazy to think going into next weekend, still multiple teams that have a shot at an SEC regular season title. It's a lot at stake going into next weekend. That series, Oklahoma, Florida, will be so good. A&M versus Tennessee, just fighting for something extra next weekend.
And regardless if Florida has a chance at the SEC title, they will have a huge impact on who could win it, because A&M and Tennessee will certainly be keeping a close eye on that series, as well as Texas, who will need a sweep of Kentucky to put themselves in a spot to do it. 3-0, potentially 1 pitch away from LSU walking it off in 6 innings and flipping the script in this series, doing exactly what Florida did in game 1. There it is, the Tigers, after a dreadful start in game 1, bounce back to take the second 2 and win the series over Florida. Their first series win over the Gators since 2019.
such a huge turn of events from that first game. They got run ruled 14-4. Game 2 was a pitcher's duel with a walk-off ending, and then they have the final say, the last word to have the run rule of Florida on their home field.
Let's take a look at a reliable connection brought to you by T-Mobile 5G home internet. How about 8 runs in the 6th inning, Amanda?
I think that's a pretty reliable connection, 1 through 9 in this LSU order, putting up those 8 runs, doing it a variety of different ways. Florida pitching just really struggled to throw strikes, find the strike zone, a ton of free passes, but driven in runs. Jane Leno had quite a day at the plate. Vidal coming in with that pinch hit RBI. Everybody getting in on the action. The one word that comes to mind in this game for LSU's offense, execution from start to finish.
A gritty bounce-back performance from the Tigers, who were run-ruled in Game 1. They are heading to Arkansas on Thursday to finish the season. Florida, Oklahoma. That series begins on SEC Network on Thursday. A lot to look forward to this final week.
So much to look forward to. It's going to be here.